Philippine News Hub Updates. Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel ko, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-hit ang bell for more updates. Breaking news May 30. Babaeng model na nanapit ng traffic enforcer na pag-alaman ay tisnugot rin sa pinagbabawal na droga dahil yung araw na yun nahuli rin ang kanyang mga kasamahan. Vice President Lini Robredo yumayak-yak na naman 6 na D-129 na helicopter na galing sa Turkey at 10 Black Hawk na galing ng Amerika para tingnan ng bansa. Senador Manny Paquiao na payuko na lang nang di masagot ang mga tanong ni Cayetano. Panoorin para sa buong detalye.
Kahit sa Asia, ganun din. Pero kahit na, mataas pa rin. Malaki ang naibigay. Biro nyo kung hindi nagbigay ito, saan tayo kukuha ng pambili? Kaya marami tayong nagamit sa pagtugon natin sa pandemic. At the same time, nakakabili rin tayo ng mga kailangan natin. Ano ba tawag mo sa bill? Gastos yan, di ba? Pagpapatayo mo ng mga daan, mga tulay, mga skyway, expressway, pagpayos mo ng LRT, MRT, kailangan mo ng pera, ayun, doon ginagamit. Hindi lang yan. Alam nyo sa D&D, kailangan din natin ng pera para improve natin yung ating kakayahan sa ating pagtanggol sa ating bansa. Itong si Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, alam niyo ba na bumili ang DND ng 10 Black Hawk choppers at ito'y i-deliver na maaaring ngayong taon. At malaking tulong ito sa pakikibaka natin sa mga rebelde, sa mga terorista. Maraming paggagamitan ng Black Hawk. At sabi ni Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, ito raw ay nakatulong ng malaki sa kakayahan, kahandaan ng Philippine Air Force, both, whether ito'y sa pakikipaglaban o mga non-combat missions. O halimbawa, gagamit mo yung mga aeroplanong na yan kung magdadala ka ng mga kailangang equipment, halimbawa, kung may bibili ka, halimbawa PPE, lahat na po pwede mong ilagay sa aeroplanong yan, magagamit mo yan. O yung mga medisina, o pag kailangan mo ng mga aeroplanong para mga emergency sa mga pasyente, pwede lahat gamitin. Na-delay lang ho yung pagdating nitong chopper na ito nung first quarter of 2021. Pero yung 16 na chopper, meron na naman. Binili rin ito sa ilalim ng Horizon 2 ng Revised Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program. Alam niyo ba kung magkano ito? $241 million plus. Ang eksaktong amount is 241,461,699.39 o bilhin niya. At ito ay sa pamamagitan ng government-to-government transaction sa pagitan ng ating bansa at ng Poland naman. Ito ay nung 2 taon na nakakaraan ito. At yung Black Hawk chopper, kaya ho itong lumipad ng 224 miles per hour. Bilis, no? O kaya naman, parang kung sa kilometrahe, 361 kilometers per hour. So magagamit ito mga Black Hawks sa combat missions, humanitarian assistance, pati na yung disaster response operations natin. At pati pandemic response. Sabi ko ni Secretary Delfin, meron ding binibili tayong 6 na Turkish attack helicopters. Ito yung saan natin binibili? Sa Turkish Aerospace Industries. Naka-order na tayo ng 6. At ang budget naman natin dito, 13.8 billion pesos. At magsisimula na ang delivery ito sa third quarter. Ano ba itong T-29? Twin engine daw po ito. Tandem seat, multi-role, all-weather attack helicopter based on the Augusta A129 Mangusta platform. At ito'y daw dinisenyo ito para sa advanced attack and reconnaissance missions in hot and high environments and rough geography in both day and night conditions. So, biro nyo, may mga helicopter na hindi pa pwede lumipad ng gabi. Kaya pag nakasakay kami ng chopper, kailangan alas 4 pa, lumilipad na kami Ayaw ng alas 5, bakit abutan ng dilim. Hindi na pala pwede. Meron mga ganong helicopter. Pero itong binibili ni Secretary Delfin, kay araw, kay gabi, pwedeng magamit po ito. Hindi magandang balita yan. At ito namang mapunta ho tayo niyan sa pag-uusapan natin yung Commission on Human Rights noong isang araw. Sila daw po ay nangangako na iimbestiga nila. Yun daw 1,500, 6 na patayan at saka mga paglabag sa international humanitarian law na isinagawa daw ng Partido Komunista ng Pilipinas, Communist Party of the Philippines, at ng New People's Army, pati na yung National Democratic Front. Mula noong 2010 hanggang 2020. Sa ngayon po kay General Alejandro Naknak, Direktor ng AFP Center for the Law on Armed Conflict, sinumitin na nila kay Commissioner Karen Dumpit yung pong listahan ng mga daang-daang willful, sadyang pagpatay na ginawa nitong communist terrorist groups sa nagdaan na 10 taon. Bakit naman 10 taon lang? Ano nangyari doon sa mga nakaraang taon? Di ba? Ang dami yan. Nagsimula. 50 years nga silang ganyan Bakit naman 10 years lang? Ibig sabihin, ngayon lang kayo nag-iimbestiga. Trabaho niya. Iniimbestigahan niyo sa gobyerno. Pero yung mga kalaban ng gobyerno, hindi niyo iniimbestigahan. I know. Pero, huli man daw at magaling. Sana gawin nyo na. Para panagutin na natin itong mga communist terrorist groups at matigil na rin yung mga, marami ho silang front organizations kasi. At yan naman ang trabaho nitong mga nandiyan sa intelligence. Yung LCAC, yun ang trabaho nila, kaya gagalit yung mga left-leaning groups Kasi pag tinatag daw sila, hirap sa inyo Pumasok kayo dyan, gusto nyong labanan ng gobyerno. Pagkatapos, reklamo kayo, kasama yan. Sabi nga namin Nilo Tayag Pag ikaw ay nag-aktivista, either mamamatay ka dyan, o makukulong ka, o matotorture ka, kasama yan. Tingnan nyo si Nilo Tayag. Nakulong, 16 na taon. Siya ang chairman ng Kabataang Makabayan. Ngayon, isa na siyang obispo. Kaya puro siya dasal ngayon. Tsaka tumutulong sa mga social activities. Ito na yan, nakakasama natin sa mga distribution ng relief goods. At saka pagkikipag-ugnayan sa mga LGUs, pati na mga ordinaryong mamamayan. Magaling itong mag-organize. Anyway, sa ilalim po ng 9851, Republic ako ito, batas, or Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide and Other Crimes Against Humanity. Ito daw pong mga hukuman, sinusunod nila yung mga prinsipyo kaugnay sa reparasyon, kasama na yung restitution, pagbabayad, rehabilitasyon, pati na yung pagdetermina ng halaga, danyos, lahat yun. Pero regardless daw ng anumang amount na i-determine ng hukuman, siyempre, yung alam nyo yung danyo sa pera, yan madali lang yun eh. Pero yung paghihirap, yung dinanas na ginawa nitong mga grupo ng terorista, naku, hindi nyo mapapalitan yun. Yung nasirang property, mapapalitan mo, papagawa ka ng bago. Yung nawalang pera mo dahil sa ginawa nila, papalitan yan. Pero paano yung buhay? Buhay na inutang nila, paano mo ibabalik yung buhay? Ay sana nga, magkaroon na ng katuparan. Pero you know, the best. Sa akin, wag na kayong maglunsad ng revolusyon. Tigilan nyo na yan. 52 years na kayong ganyan eh. Walang nangyayari. Maraming nalalagas na buhay. Maraming nasasayang na mga bright young men and women. Kasi, alam niyo mga bata, full of idealism, sila ang nahihila, namumundok, lumalaban sa gobyerno, umiiwan ang kanilang mga pamilya. Kaya kawawang-kawawa yung mga magulang. Biro niyo yung pagdaranas na yan. Tigil na ho natin yun. Magkaisa tayo para itong bansang ito umusad na, lumipad na sa dapat itong kalagyan. Hindi yung hirap na hirap po tayo. Mabuti, dumating itong Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Nako, kung hindi itong Presidente natin ngayon, lalo na may pandemya, hindi natin malaman kung saan tayo tinapon. Pero despite that, yung mga kritiko, yung mga oposisyon, binibira, sinisiraan, katakot-takot na mga peking balita, ang pinalilipad, disinformasyon, kaliwat kanan. Tinatago nila yung katotohanan sa taong bayan. Ang gagaling pa nila dahil yung media po natin, maraming nakuha yung media. Dalawa lang ang alam kong independent-minded. Yang Daily Tribune, saka yung Manila Times, o doon. Yun ang basahin nyo. Kasi pagdating doon sa iba, Inquirer, Sus Maria Josep. Lahat ng mga kolumnista dyan, wala pa ako nabasa dyan na naging objective. Puro kontra sa gobyerno. Sa Philippine Star din, marami rin dyan ang kontra. Bihirang-bihira ka makabasa ng may kumikilala sa ginagawa ni Presidente Duterte. Dapat kasi, palagi lang tayong fair. Bibigay natin yung kagandahan ng gobyerno. Kung merong mga pagkukulang, banatan nyo. Hindi yung wala kayo nakitang kabutihan eh. Puro kasamaan. Hindi naman totoo. Meron siyempre pagkukulang lahat ng gobyerno. Pero itong gobyerno ni Presidente Duterte, naku, malayong malayo. Kung ikukumpara mo yung kakulangan, doon naman sa ginawang mga kabutihan, mga ginawang mga proyekto, mga programa, mga pag-ayuda sa mga tao, pagtataas ng antas ng kanilang buhay, pagtaas ng mga sahod, pagbibigay, alam niyo ba na ilang daan libo ng naibigay na lupa para doon sa mga walang lupa? Talong-talo yung mga nakaraang administrasyon. Itong si Secretary Castriones, talagang bigay ng mga lupa. Diyan nga sa Marawi, narinig ko isang gabi. Lilipad daw sila ron, mamimigay na naman sila ng mga lupa. O hindi ba? Napakaganda. Sana itong mga kaibigan natin dyan sa kabila, abay, kilalanin nyo naman, bigyan naman ng konting pagtingin. Sabi nga ni Rick Sigreto sa kanyang kanta, kahit konting pagtingin, kung manggagaling sa oposisyon, abay magandang pakinggan din. Hindi po ba? Anyway, ito namang DepEd, saka DBM, alam niyo ba, na may magandang bali. O ito, hindi na naman alam ng oposisyon to. Meron silang special hardship allowance for teachers ang ibibigay. Kaya ho, sabi ni Secretary Liling Briones, yun daw pong mga guro, pati na yung mga punong guro, ay makakakuha na sila ng mas mataas na special hardship allowance. Meron na akong circular dyan. Inilabas sila. Kasama yung DBM. Alam mo naman DBM, si Secretary Wendell Siya may hawak ng pera Yun daw pong joint circular na inilabas nila, itinaas yung special allowance. Mula daw sa 15%, naging 25% ng monthly basic salary nila. O, pero nyo yun. Meron kayong regular na salary, ang allowance nyo, meron 25% dun sa tinatanggap nyo buwan-buwan. Dati-dati, 15% lang yung allowance. Ngayon tinaasa na 25%. At ito, para sa mga guro sa elementarya, dyan sa high school, kasama na yung mga punong guro at administrador, na sila ho yung nahihirapan. Dahil may mga tinatawag na hazards. Ay, halimbawa, doon sa mga ilang na po, sa mga probinsya, yung pagpunta mo na lang doon sa tuturuan mo, nako, yung lalakarin mo, putikan, walang sasakyan, tapos kung may sasakyan, bako-bako ang daan. Ako, talaga, malaking paghihirap. Paano ba ma-avail ito? Sino mag-avail? Di yung teachers. Diyan po sa multi-grade schools, mobile teachers, pati yung non-formal education or alternative learning system, coordinators, sila ho. Ito'y bukas para sa inyo. Sabi ho ni Secretary Liling Briones, yung DepEd patuloy daw pong bibigyan ng parangal yung kanilang mga personnel, lalong-lalo na yung mga nagtatrabaho doon sa mga malalayo at ilang na lugar o pook sa pamamagitan ng pagtugon sa kanilang mga pangangailangan at bigyan ng kanilang mga kailangan. Kailangan daw maibsan kahit na konti yung kanilang burden o paghihirap. Sa papanong paraan. Kasi hindi ba, pag merong allowance sa gobyerno, maraming mga requirements. Nayayamot at nahihirapan. Sabi ni Secretary Ling, hindi. We will reduce. Papaigsiin natin yung listahan ng mga requirements. Sa panahon ngayon ng pagdaranas at paghihirap, sabi ni Secretary Briones, sinasaluduhan namin yung kagitingan ng mga guro na patuloy na nagbibigay ng edukasyon sa mga kulang sa aral kahit nasaan silang lugar naroon. Kaya sila daw pong mga educators Yun ang kanilang sinumpaan na gawin ang kanilang tungkulin. At sisiguraduhin nila na kayo'y ligtas sa anumang mga sakuna o kaya naman mga panganib na nakaabang sa inyo. O ano na naman yan, kapatid na Lenny, meron na naman ako nabasa sa tungkol sa iyo. Sabi ni kaibigang at kapatid na BP Lenny, alam niyo raw yung coronavirus pandemic na lumikha ng pandaigdigang pagkasira ng ekonomiya ng marami sa mga bansa na kumitil sa mahigit sa 3 milyong tao. Sinilang daw sa ganitong uri ng kalakaran yung mga magagaling na presidente na ginagawa ang kanilang trabaho at nakikinig sa siyensya. Alam na natin kung saan papunta na naman ang mga payag nito. Pinupuri niya yung mga prime minister ng iba-ibang bansa. Si Jacinda Ardern, si Chai Lang-wen, si Chancellor Angela Merkel, lahat daw ito magagaling. Kasi daw, pinakita daw sa panahon ng krisis at kahit na sa panahon daw ng normal, talagang ito nagtatrabaho, naayos, naggugul-gul ng mga panahon para sa kanilang kababayan. Sigurado, papunta na naman to kay Presidente Duterte. Talaga, ikaw, BP Lenny, kailangan daw isang leader ay may urgency at decisiveness. Yung mo sabihin, wala nun si Presidente. Siya nga meron nun Ikaw ang wala ikaw talaga. Alam mo, Ate BP Lenny, ang payo ko sa iyo, use your heart. Gamitin mo yung puso mo. Pag ginamit mo yung puso mo, makikita mo yung ginagawa ng presidente natin. Ikaw naman, kasama ka naman namin dati sa kabinete. Nakita mo naman kung paano magtrabaho. Di ba kasama? Isang taong ka ba namin nakasama? Kahit na nga anong ginagawa mo doon, hindi ka naman pinapatulan ng mga miyembro ng kabinete. Parang walang nangyari kahit binibira mo. Puro trabaho lang ang ginagawa Binibiro ka pa nga Meron pa ito sinasabi. Sabi niya, kailangan ng mga oposisyon, isa lang mga kandidato laban dito sa administrasyon. Kailangan magkaisa. Kasi, ito lang ang kagandahan na sinabi mo. Kasi, sabi niya, si Presidente Duterte, popular pa rin hanggang ngayon. Pero inamin mo rin. Kaya daw, dahil popular itong presidente, kailangan magkaisa ang mga oposisyon dahil kung maraming kandidato, popular itong isang taong ito matatalo na naman. Pero, dapat, kaibigang BP, Lenny, kailangan suriin mo yung salita mong, this president is popular. Ang tanong, bakit popular? Pag sinuri mo yan, kasi ilang taon na yung sinisiraan si Presidente. Sinasabi nyo, mamamatay tao. Sinasabi nyo, tamad. Sinasabi nyo, mali ang kanyang mga patakaran. Mali ang kanyang pagtugon sa pandemic. Mali ang kanyang foreign policy. Sinasabi nyo, hindi marunong gumalang sa babae. Mura dito ng mura. natutulog sa panahon ng ano, kung ano nga. Pero, kinikilala mo na popular. Anong ibig sabihin, Ate BP Lenny? Since you admitted that this president is very popular, it only means one thing. Yung sambayanang Pilipino, kinikilala yung lahat ng kanyang ginagawa para sa kanyang mga kababayan, yung pagsilbihan sila at bigyan sila ng proteksyon. Ano pang ibig sabihin ng popular? Ibig sabihin, hindi naniniwala sa inyo sa oposisyon. Dahil kung naniniwala sa paninira po ninyo, naku, di sana hindi popular. Hindi mo nasasabihin popular. At hindi mo sasabihin na talagang magkaisa tayo para manalo tayo. Di ba? Yun ang logic at ibipilin. Pero inabot na naman tayo ng oras. So, ito po ang inyong likod, Salvador Panelo, pansamantala nagpapaalam at nagbibigay sa inyo ng ating paalala sa tuwi-tuwi na magsuot po ng inyong mga face mask.
Mr. President, I just want to answer yung mahabang isa-isahin ko lang muna, tinake note ko naman dito. Una, Mr. President, yung impact po, okay, our concern is the 150 million approximately. In fact, wala po yan sa bill na nandito po, yung nakadraft na bill. Wala po yung 150, approximate lang po. Pwede po maging 100 or 120, 130, 30. Approximately lang po yan. Ito po, isa-isahin ko na lang po at ano po ang maganda naman dyan. Kasi hindi naman po yan, kumbaga sa hindi yan municipal hall, barangay hall ang gagawin, kundi ito ay mga offices ng Vaccine Commission sa Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Tatlong building na gagawin para mag-establish, ma-start na Ang impact po ng pag-put up ng Philippine Boxing Commission ay makapokus sa ating mga boksingero at hindi lang siguro isang Manny Pacquiao. I-sample ko na lang yung sarili ko, Manny Pacquiao and sila Peñalosa, Donaire, at sino pa ba? Zigores, mga world-class caliber na fighter. Ang mapoproduce ng ating Pilipinas kung mayroon po tayo nakatutok na isang commission like Philippine Boxing. Yun po. At hindi po yan, domino effect po yan. Hindi lang po yan nagtatapos. For your information, Mr. President, it will help our economic growth and development. Kasi sa mga turista natin, magdatingan niya dito, makilala ang ating bansa, nakakatulong sa ekonomiya natin. Imagine kung magiging tayo, Asia's capital of Boxing and Combat Sports Commission, Combat Sports. Talaga namang dadagsain tayo ng iba't ibang mga banyaga dito sa Pilipinas kung ganyan na maging resulta. So, ang impact ng 150 o approximately po lang po yan, ang impact po noon ay napakaganda. Napakaganda po at magkaroon po tayo ng, isa pong impact noon ay magkakaroon po tayo ng respeto at makilala tayo sa buong mundo, hindi lamang sa buong Asia. Yan po ang impact noon. At para lang dito sa itong budget na ito, we expend billions of pesos to promote our country. Our tourism, nandyan yung tourism natin to promote, nahirapan yan promote. Pero itong vaccine na ito, kakaiba, makatulong po ito ng malaki. At hindi lang ito, kung dyan lang po, titingnan natin yan sa vaccine lang, talagang wala kang makikita. But i-widen natin po yung isipan natin, Mr. President, ang laki po ng ma-contribute at maitulong nitong Philippine Boxing Commission. Unang-una, matutukan yung mga boksingero at maalagaan hanggang sa pag-retire, may mabenepisyo makuha ang ating mga at ito ulitin ko po ulit, ang GAP is to regulate and supervise. But wala po sa batas ng GAP yung developmental power, no? sustain and help those retired boxers na maraming na nangangailangan, nanghihingi ng tulong ngayon, naghihirap ngayon. Yun po ang kung mayroon po sana tayong Philippine boxing na nakatutok sa kanila, wala pong problema, hindi po sila iiyak, hindi po sila manghihingi ng tulong dahil may mga benepisyo po silang natatanggap sa ating gobyerno. Sa ating commission, mula sa ating commission. Yun po ang yung impact nun. So ang ibig kong sabihin, hindi lang po ito dito sa ating sa professional makakatulong, kundi pati po sa ating ekonomiya. Makakatulong po ito. Like I said, the economic growth and development. It's a big impact. We should, I'm not, of course, it's smarter than me, the good lady from Taguig, but we have to widen our perspective and yung pananaw natin para dito sa Philippine boxing na hindi lang itong professional to produce a caliber boxer, caliber athlete, but to help also our economic and promote our country. That's all, Mr. President.
Mr. President, as I was saying, the desire of His Honor is noble. He wants to promote our country, make it a destination for sports, particularly boxing. However, the functions of his boxing commission, and I will address his concern right after the statement I make, is basically identical to the functions being performed by what a boxing commission should perform. It is being performed now by GAB. It is meant to regulate. That is the job of every boxing commission in the world. They regulate. Now, if His Honor is talking about promotion, hindi job ng boxing commission yon. Bawal ho yun. There will be a conflict. And His Honor and I have had a discussion of this off the record, and he even said that he is willing to amend to exclude that because there will be a conflict if the boxing commission is promoting and at the same time regulating.
I would like to interrupt, Mr. President. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. President. Let's clarify it. What I'm talking about, Mr. President, when I'm talking about promoting the country, is not a promotional boxing kasi that's a job of a promoter. That's why there's a promoter and manager license. So, yan po ang ibig kong sabihin, yung promoting the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
So then I don't know in what way magpo-promote ang boxing kasi dun sa bill nakalagay something like promote the boxing industry. So if it's an industry.
No, Mr. President. Just want to clarify. Nasa provision, wala po yan. Binireview ko po yung boxing commission. Wala po nakalagay na promotion. Maging promoter. Ano po yan? Promotion sa ating bansa. Sa section, ano ba yan? Section 5 po yan. Ito. Section 5, item D. In collaboration with the private sector, national government agencies, and local government units or LGUs, promote and make the country as an international, regional center for professional boxing and combat sports, competition, training, and convention, and tourism, Mr. President.
Well, I have a problem with that, Mr. President, because when you promote it as a competition, they're supposed to regulate. And my little knowledge of boxing, and I'm sure all the gentlemen here know more than boxing than I do. I just had to study this for this measure. When you promote boxing, you want to be sure that the fight is even, unless there is a concerted effort to give a fighter more points locally so that when he goes abroad, or so that he would be invited to fight abroad because he gets more points. And that's precisely why you want a regulator to be fair. You cannot have this regulator having that burden of promoting because he has to regulate. So there's a problem also there. But again, maybe we can address that later on in the period of amendment because I see that there is a problem here. In any case, Mr. President, my biggest concern is that these functions are performed by GAB. Alam nyo, kung saan ang hinihingi na pera is 5 million pesos, wala na siguro tayong pag-uusapan. Ang problema, ang hinihingi ng pera para sa Boxing Commission is even bigger or equal to the funding that the whole GAB allocated to GAB. It's more than the budget of GAB, and GAB is overseeing 20 sports. And I put on record, I will repeat, that even during the pandemic, they were able to include 3 new sports. Volleyball, ayan, wala sa isip ko, pero volleyball, may I just ask my staff to pull out the record, no? Pero, ayun, volleyball, triathlon, and there's a third sport na dagdag na yan, even during the pandemic. So, I cannot understand, and it will really be a burden on the body to have to decide now, why will we create a new body for just boxing and combat sports and give them a budget bigger than GAB that is overseeing the 20 sports without being able to pinpoint kung saan nagkulang ang GAB. Ngayon, when His Honor says na may ibang function pa yan, well then perhaps the solution is for now, it could be a dream we can have later on and entertain.
Mr.
Perhaps
President.
the solution might be to amend the GAB law and to increase their powers. Like if we want to allow them to have an initial what do you call it, welfare fund, then that may be the solution for
President.
now.
Mr. President, sorry to interrupt, Mr. President. I just want to answer first because mamaya mahaba na yung makalimutan ko na iba. Mr. President, it doesn't say here how much exactly the budget of this commission, Mr. President. At the concern of my colleague from Taguig, is the budget 150 approximately, Mr. President. It's much higher than the GAB budget. Like I said, Mr. President, wala naman naka-state dito, nakalagay dito na 150. Pwede namang mababa pa sa GAB eh. Kung magkano yung sa GAB, pwedeng kung 100 million yung sa GAB, wala nang problema kung sabihin sa yung commission 70 million lang o 60 million lang, 50 million lang. No problem with that, Mr. President. Ang sabi ko lang approximately lang.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. President. But His Honor mentioned offices in Visayas and Mindanao. Mr. President, GAB has regional offices. And at this time of the pandemic, again, na every peso counts. We need to be accountable to the Filipino people how we spend public funds. I cannot help but recall that in one of the bills that is very close to my heart, and Senator Risa and I are working very closely on it, we are trying to amend the adoption law because we don't even have enough people attending to the homeless, motherless, abandoned children on the streets. Hindi nga ma-process yung adoption nila. So hindi ko kaya with all due humility as a mother na pondohan ang isang sports office specific to one sport only. Tapos itong ibang offices na ilalagay ang mga batang nasa kalye at mahanapan sila ng bahay, hindi pa natin napopondohan din. And again, the other example I gave was the health expenses and the education expenses. So I rest my case on that point, Mr. President, because
Thank you, Mr. President.
unless we can pinpoint that GAB is unable to perform its function, then we should not be entertaining a bill that is creating a similar agency that will duplicate functions. Even if we say the goal is to add certain functions, then with all due respect, I would like and I would love to, and I am offering my services to His Honor to work with him, at least for the time being during this pandemic, to be responsible during the time of this pandemic, to create a fund within GAB and for the amateurs, which I think is the primary concern of His Honor. I think I hope His Honor would be willing to consider that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, unang-una, this bill is already approved in the last Congress, 17th Congress. Hindi ito new, Mr. President. Hindi ito tiniming sa dahil sa pandemya, ganyan. Existing na po ito, na-approve na po ito nung 17th Congress po, na nabalik dito kasi hindi pa na-approve sa lower house. At pangalawa po, kung budget ang pag-uusapan natin, alam mo naman din siguro kung ang budget diyan, kung pwede nating siyempre alam natin kung paano ng maglaan ng budget dito. Hindi naman ito, it can be, I said, it can be less than 100 or less than the budget of the GOB. Yun po ang point dito. Pero, and also, to clarify po, kasi I thought from the beginning of the interpretation of this measure, I thought it's the good lady from Taguig, it's already, he will ask question for a clarificatory question. But I think this is not my understanding right now, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding right now is this is not a clarificatory question, this is a opposing the bill. Opposing the bill. So that's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, thank you for His Honor's clarificatory question. If my interrogation or interpellation is clarificatory or ano yung sinabi niya, opposing. If His Honor will recall from the start, I always would begin by please educate me. I have always been collaborative, and again, I'm very proud to have worked with amazing mentors who trained me. Again, I will mention our minority floor leader, Senator Drilon. Maiiyak ako because some of my mentors have passed away, Senator Flavier, Senator Joker Arroyo, Senator Nene Pimentel, Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, and Senator Angara. And what I've learned from them is that no matter how beautiful our concept and idea is, there is collective wisdom. We have so much to gain when we work together. And my seatmate here, who has moved farther than me, I don't know kung nilalayuan niya ako, si Senator Gatchalian, is witness to the fact, if you listen to his amendments, I think 75% of the amendments that he read on the floor were mine. Hindi sa magaling ho ako, but it's because I've also had experience working in that field. And so, it is not true that I simply want to oppose. I have started always by saying, please educate me. Please enlighten me. So definitely ho, clarificatory yun. Ngayon, kung hindi nyo nasasagot ang tanong ko, then that is the time I will conclude, and that is the time you will hear me say, well, with all due respect, I disagree. With all due respect, ito naman ang opinion ko. I hope you would consider it because hindi nyo nasagot yung tanong ko. So going back to the questions on the powers of GAB, bakit ho natin hindi ma-amend yun? I do not understand why His Honor is not amenable to amending the powers of GAB so that they can be more responsive to the needs that he sees has to be addressed. It is irresponsible for us to put in fundings for a new agency when we cannot even say that this other agency is not performing their job well. We did not even give them that mandate.
Mr. President,
So that is
may I
the proper
interrupt?
way to go. And if I may just finish before I give the floor back to His Honor, His Honor said that he has been answering this question since the 17th Congress. Let me point out two very important facts. I was not a member of the Senate in the 17th Congress. And yes, I have stood up so many times defending a bill and answer repeatedly questions that my colleagues ask because they want to understand it from their perspective. Kahit na 10 beses ko na sinagot yon sa ibang kasamahan natin. I tried to make it easier by studying the interpellation in the 17th Congress para maintindihan ko din kung anong napag-usapan doon. And I will pinpoint, my dear sponsor, that there are certain provisions that are new in this version that you filed in the 18th Congress that were not present in the version in the 17th Congress. So you cannot say, His Honor cannot tell us that it is the same and basahin ko na lang yung dati, iba ng bill to eh. Kahit basahin ko yung dati, may mga bagong provision to. On the creation, the commission is directly under the administrative supervision of the Office of the President in this 18th Congress. Yung bill niya said has a different kind of wording under the 17th Congress. The composition of the members are different. There are exemptions from taxes and fees in the 18th Congress that are not present in the 17th Congress. There are compensations of professional boxing and combat sports that are present in the 18th Congress that are not present in the 17th Congress. I can go on and on about the difference, but please understand that I studied this measure. So Kaya ko lang naman tinatanong dahil may pinagkaiba naman po yung 17 and 18.
I understand, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. President, you said that the clarificatory question that you asked, I did not answer. May I know, Mr. President, what question that I did not answer? What question you raised that I did not answer?
Why not
I
amend?
just want to clarify, Mr. President, because I want to answer
I'm
all,
happy, I'm
as much as
happy.
possible all questions.
Yes.
But one by one lang kasi when you ask questions, talagang parang sampo, Mr. President. So, isa-isa lang muna. Wag yung combination mo na suntok. Pa-jab-jab lang muna. May I ask
Yes,
kung
sanay
what,
din po tayo sa combination punches. Nanonood din tayo ng laro niyo eh. Hindi, joke lang, joke lang.
may I ask what question that I did not answer, Mr. President? Just to clarify.
Yes, Mr. President, straight to the point, yung why is His Honor creating a new commission when instead without exploring, or let me phrase it a different way, would His Honor be open to exploring, at least for the time being, at least during the time of this pandemic, the option of amending the powers of GAB to address some concerns that he has mentioned, and specifically is the welfare of the boxers that he said hindi naaasikaso.
Okay, Mr. President.
Why not amend
Sir.
GAB instead of creating a 100 million agency?
Okay, Mr. President. Kasi pag mahaba na, makalimutan, hindi ko na pasagutin ko lang isa-isa, Mr. President. Okay, I will say it again. This bill was proposed before pandemic pa, Mr. President. Now, hindi ito itiniming sa pandemic. Kumbaga, approved na ito nung last Congress. Wala po kayo dito nung last Congress, Mr. President. At pangalawa, Mr. President, just to answer all your question para walang masabi na hindi ko sinagot yung question mo, Mr. President. At pangalawa, the function of GAB is different function from this PBC, EC, Mr. President. Magkakaiba po. Like I said, in-explain ko na ano yung function. GAB is only regulatory board, regulatory and supervise giving license. But the function of the commission that I propose this measure is to look and help the welfare of athletes hanggang sa pagretiro nila. Yun po ang function nito, kaya magkakaiba po talaga. Especially giving SSS, PhilHealth, parang pension sa kanila. Ito po yung magiging function ng commission na ito. So magkakaiba po talaga, hindi po magkapareho. Kasi ang GAB magbigay lang ng license, medical, mag-regulate lang, supervise, and then tapa na, pagka-retiro wala na silang pakialam. Which is, I already witnessed that for the past 25 years in my career, na ang dami kong mga kasama na wala. Inutil na doon sa inutil, naghihingi ng tulong, naglilimos na lang. Wala nang which is kung nandito itong commission na ito, hindi mapapabayaan kasi nakakahiya eh. Nagdala sila, nagwagayway sila ng bansa natin, flag natin sa ibang bansa, nagbigay sila ng honor sa bansa natin tapos napabayaan natin, nandyan sa kalye, natutulog, nanghingi ng pera, nanghingi ng pagkain. Pangit naman yon na nagbigay ng pangalan sa ating bansa tapos nakikita natin yung tao na nagbigay ng pangalan sa ating bansa, napabayaan natin. The mission of this commission is to look their welfare, Mr. President. Naalagaan sila na hanggang sa pagtanda nila, pag-retire nila, mayroon nang nagtututok na commission. And I hope that the good leader from Taguig will understand of my explanation. Hindi ko nasagot yung mga tanong mo. I will answer all those questions in terms of boxing this mission, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for that explanation, but I do not understand the response that this bill was prepared before the pandemic. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What is the
Ay,
effect
ang
of
ibig
that?
kong- ang ibig sorry, Mr. President. Ang ibig sabihin, Mr. President, hindi ito po ito na tiniming sa pandemya. Kumbaga po, existing na itong bill na ito, approved na po ito bago pa po nagpandemya. Yun po ang pinaka-point doon sa statement ko po, sa answer ko. Thank
Yes,
you.
Mr. President, but we are living in the now, and we must be responsible and responsive to what our situation is now. So in the bill that we passed, the Create bill that we passed, yung inabot ng pandemic, before the pandemic, that was sitira. And the reduction of the corporate income tax was 1% per year. But because of the pandemic, we changed the bill. We changed the bill because we needed an immediate response to help the people and to help businesses. So we immediately decreased the income tax, the corporate income tax by 5% instead of 1% per year. So it is our duty as lawmakers to be the one to adjust. If we will make give the reason that dati pa to, wala pang pandemic noon, then we are not being responsive to the needs of our people. If there is a natural calamity, we pull out funding and we put it in that area that needs assistance for the calamity. Natural ho yun. So
Is the thing,
the reason I bring this up is because the timing to support the creation of offices hindi ito pondo, the funding that his honor is asking for will not even go directly to the athletes. This is for the creation of offices. And when I say his honor does not answer the question, I do not understand why there has to be a new office when GAB has regional offices. And hindi po nyo naipaliwanag kung ano yung hindi nagagawa ng GAB na dapat nilang gawin. Now, if it is not in their mandate, then why not amend it? That is the easiest thing to do to save money. That is what I'm saying. Is his
Okay,
honor amenable
Mr.
to that?
President,
Let
may-
us amend it. Let us do their job. Bantayan nyo ng 1 taon, 2 taon. Kung hindi nila nagawa, mauna akong mag-support sa inyo. Kasi syempre gusto ko na alagaan yung athletes natin.
Mr. President,
Gusto ko yun.
may I interrupt through Mr. President to interrupt. Mr. President, we can open the budget requirements for this bill, Mr. President. Pwedeng bigyan ng 500,000, 200,000. I'm sure siguro pwede na siguro 'yan kung 'yan ang 1 million, okay lang 2 million, wala pong problema diyan. Wala po akong problema diyan as long as ma-establish itong Philippine boxing. No problem with the concern. The main concern of the good lady from Taguig is the budget. I have no question with that. Pwedeng 200,000, pwedeng 500,000. I'm sure siguro maintindihan na po yan ng ating mahal na kasama from Taguig. At,
Baka po pwede mag-submit ang ating sponsor ng budget proposal for this kasi kung 200,000 lang yan,
No.
I'm sure between myself and his honor, pwede na tayong mag-donate yan para private fund na lang itong boxing. I will come up with the 100, sa inyo na yung 100. Huwag na natin gawing public kasi like I said, these are boxing commissions are private in many countries. Because I do not know how you will come up with your offices of Luzon, Visayas,
Yeah.
Mindanao, which you put on record with 200,000. So baka ipasa natin yan, tapos sabihin ng mga tao, nasa na yung pinangako nyo na may mga opisina, binanggit nyo yan. Nasa na yung welfare fund, 200,000 lang yan. So ako naman po, in the same way that we scrutinize the budget that we are available to provide for health, that's also what I'm doing, Mr. President, because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver dahil mahal ko din ang athletes katulad ninyo.
sige po, sorry to interrupt po, Mr. President. Ito po para matapos na. I-open lang po natin. Bahala na po yung DBM. Kung 100,000 ibigay, 200,000, 500,000.
Hindi lalagyan ng
Hindi na lalagyan ng ano doon, ng budget requirements. Ngayon, ay pinasa tapos binigyan na ng budget ng 100,000 ng DBM, kung pag-start ng Philippine Boxing, sa abot ng aking mga kaya, kahit sarili kong pera, pwede kong mag-establish, magtayo para matulungan ko lang yung Philippine Boxing. Gastusin ko yung pera ko, magtayo ako sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao para magkaroon ng opisina ang ating Philippine Boxing Commission. Yan po, Mr. President, to shorten the discussion about the budget. I think he's not gonna have a problem anymore. The budget, it's prerogative of the DBM to put up a budget. Kung DBM magbigay ng 100,000, and then so be it. I can help the commission to establish a office ni Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Thank you, Mr. President.
Maganda ho yung idea na binring up nyo on private funding, Mr. President. And like I said, sasamahan ko po kayo, mangolekta ho tayo dito sa mga kaibigan namin. Pare-pareho nyo namang fans yan. Nakatingin ho si Sherwin. Masama na tingin sa akin dahil sisingilin po natin ng donation yan. I think this is the best direction. Kasi po, sa pagkaalam ko sa DBM, unfunded laws are not favored. Hindi ho mangyayari yan na bibigyan lang kayo ng 100 or 200,000 ng DBM because they will study the measure and they will give you an amount if they can afford it that is commensurate to the objectives and the mandate of the law. And that is why, Mr. President, I will put on record that DBM in their letter dated March 17, 2021, recommended that the bills should be studied further and to ensure that the functions of the Philippine Boxing Commission will not duplicate and overlap with GAB and PSC. Right now, it is a duplication. Ang mangyayari kasi, you will create offices that will basically be performing maybe 50 to 75 to 90% of the same job that GAB is performing for the other professional athletes. That's why sabi niya, be sure na there is no duplication. Meron mo talagang duplication because His Honor the Boxing Commission will also be regulating. Is that not correct? Meron din regulatory functions ang Boxing Commission na ini-envision ninyo?
Mr. President, to answer that question, Mr. President, yung bill na ito, Mr. President, yung 2077, Mr. President, ay based on the ito, Mr. President, sa sulat ng DBM, sinunod lang natin sa yung sulat ng DBM, almost dito sa sulat ng DBM, at saka in-insert po natin yung section 11 ng suggestion ng DBM. In-insert po natin yung section 11 na galing po sa DBM. Thank you po, Mr. President. Yan po, kahit magbigay ang DBM ng 100,000, ako tutulungan ko mag-put up ng offices yung Philippine Boxing. Basta kaya ko, sa bulsa ko.
If I'm not mistaken,
Nandiyan naman si Senator Swing Gatsalan, tutulong naman yan, saka si brother ko.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the same issue that we took up during the health bills, that this insertion of DBM, the provision that says subject to the approval of DBM, is basically relinquishing our power to DBM. This is something that the Senate, no less than the Senate President and the Minority Floor Leader, correct me if I'm wrong, sirs, brought up yesterday. So, ayaw natin yung proposal ng DBM kasi nagpasa pa tayo, sila lang pala. So, I don't know if any of his honors want to add to that discussion, but that's what I recall, no? As a body, I think we frown upon that provision. And I just put on the record the Minority Floor Leader is nodding his head. So, on that note, again, I repeat that the letter of DBM said that to study the bill further and to take note of the duplication of efforts. And that is why I am taking time on this bill.
Philippine News Hub Updates. Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel ko, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-hit ang bell for more updates.